Hey guys, welcome back. Part 2 of our build of our TRAXXAS 2021 Ford Bronco. Part 1, we did the paint job, obviously, kind of did the cosmetic, as we were waiting for the parts to show up. In the last week, parts started trickling in from our friends over at Eliminator RC in Winnipeg, Manitoba. This is a new part from TRAXXAS, which is pretty cool. This is the SCALE Winch. It's a little tiny winch, goes on the front bumper on this truck. The TRX actually has a cool mount that goes behind the grill on that one. I might want to get that mount, utilize that in some of their other vehicles, so pretty cool. I like how they did it with the remote, so you can kind of use it in any vehicle. You don't have to have an open channel. Some people don't like that. I don't really mind it, so yeah, inside the box, that's what you get. Pretty decent looking. You need the winch, the controller, and a little fair lead plate here. Detailed instructions. How to install it on the various types of vehicles, and a little bit of a breakdown, how to run the wiring, such like that. We'll get into that once we install it all. So inside the package, you obviously get, looks like a Y harness, a JST connector, which is nice if you're running a power amplifier for lights. So that's a pretty cool little feature that they've given you there. And then you get the controller, the remote, and it tells you to turn it on. Hold the button, a couple seconds, turns on. Cool, I like that. And there is the unit itself. Very nice hook on it. We'll have to get some better shots up close. And this is the freewheel button. You push this in and then you can freewheel and you can pull out spool, and it actually works really nicely. So that's a cool feature. And there's that little fair lead in the front. It's just plastic, but yeah, looks pretty decent. And that bolts onto the front side here after. Cool, and there's a little button on top, turn it on. Anyhow, the other thing, as you know, we're waiting on our Vanquish 1.9 105 method beadlock wheels to show up. They finally showed up. I already popped one out of the package earlier. They're fantastic looking, and yeah, really happy with those. They're gonna look really good on the side of that truck instead of that. I did the gold leaf paint job. It's it looks okay. And we finally found a use for these Dredger 1.9 beadlocks. I bought them and they just kind of didn't fit any of the wheels, but they kind of seem to line up. They got these bumps on the inside, and they seem to line up with every second D-shaped ring or hole or whatever on the 105. So that's gonna work out really good. And then we're going to dress it all up with the Vanquish scale hardware all together, put them all together with that. And add a little bit of weight, we went with the Vanquish 350 or .350 offset brass hub. And I forgot to order the beadlock ring. They come plastic now, and you can get them in brass. I forgot to order the brass one, but I'm going to get on that and get those picked up. But I'm going to get these together. We can do that down the road one night. I'll swap them out and just let you guys know about it. So yeah, let's get this thing going. Okay guys, put the wheels together. I decided I am going to use those nice Dredger beadlocks, so they got a little bit more detail there. I don't know if you're going to be able to see them in there, but you'll see them on the finished product. And we're going to use the Scale hex hardware instead of the supplied. It's a little tiny little hex head instead. So we're going to run those. You are going to need the drivers for them. The ones for the wheels, I believe they're a 1 point something or other driver. You're going to want to get a little bit of Loctite. There's a lot of people disputing using Loctite, not using Loctite. On this end, once it goes together, there's no real reason why it needs to come apart. So I Loctite. Do whatever you want to do, but the way I build this thing, I'll just buy another set of wheels instead of change the beadlock rings or whatever on these ones. So I want to line up the holes on the rims, but with these bumps on the inside that you'll see once it's together. So Okay, there we go. Wrapped up, throwing on that Dredger beadlock on the front with the SCALE hardware. Looking fantastic. I'm gonna probably have to turn on some other lighting in here. There we go. Yeah, looking fantastic on there. So I'm gonna throw the scale hubs, or not the scale hubs, but the brass hubs in the middle, which kind of works. All nice same color. And we're gonna use the scale hardware again. I'm using a 0.350 offset on these scale hubs. And that kind of gets us in the realm of where we need to be. There we go, looking fantastic. Scale hardware all the way around. The nice Dredger rings, the gold and black look great together. Nice accents there. Next step up is to fit a set of tires to them. And you guys know from our other videos, the way we like to do those is put a bit of a chamfer on the edge of the foam where it meets the ring. So we do that just by cutting a little bit out. Using a pair of curved body scissors, and I just kind of, you can take the edge off. You don't want to go too deep. This helps with fitting the beadlocks together, no pinched foams, and then also it kind of makes the tire look a little better, not so fat right before it gets to the beadlock. So there we go, looking awesome. It's gonna look sick on that Bronco, guys. Okay, I'm going to finish putting the rest of the screws in the back of this one, and I'm going to build the rest of these guys so you don't have to sit here and watch me do that. Next part of this video is going to be installing that winch in the front of that Bronco. So I'll get these guys done and get them mounted on the truck, and then we'll get into working on that truck. So see you back in a few. Okay guys, there we go. We got those fantastic looking Vanquish 1.9 gold 105s with the Dredger beadlock on there with the scale hardware. Just absolutely fantastic to really set off the vehicle. Remember, we had the stock painted one on there. It looked horrible. I didn't like the way it looked. So this is what we're going for. The colors pop off each other really nicely. We'll get some more video of this guy outside right away. We're just trying to get these next upgrades done. So that part's done. Now we're going to get to putting the winch on. Now remember, this winch can hook, take this body off. This winch here, get out of there. It's got a little hook here, and your factory little plastic winch that you should have taken off and thrown away by now because it looks goofy on there. This fits into there. One screw into the back, and these two holes on the front actually click into these pins on the front of this bumper, the factory bumper on it. So that's pretty cool. So that fits like that. That goes like that. So if you guys are just wanting to see how that fits, I should probably run that in a different direction, but yeah, something like that. Ooh, fancy. But anyway, it's going to ruin the look of the front of the truck. The winch is going to sit in front of the grill. It doesn't look as scale as it could. So we went ahead and started chopping off these blocks because we want to get somewhere to snatch block back to on the front bumper. So we're chopping these blocks off. We're going to clean those up. I've actually already have one removed, looking pretty good. I'm just going to paint it and put the shackle back on. And then we're going to take off this Fairlead plate. It's only plastic. But I believe it's only plastic, yeah. Yeah, it's only plastic, but it is threaded on, and we can cut a hole through the front bumper and mount that onto there, and cut a hole for the cable in the middle. And remember, when we took off all that junk on the bottom, we just flipped over the carrier for the front bumper or the front bumper mount. So we're actually going to cut these pieces off now, and then I'm going to make a template with a piece of cardboard, and we're going to make a plate to put the winch back on here, pretty much right back down here. So I'm going to have to cut this plate, front battery tray, just a little bit, remove this, make a plate that covers that this can bolt down onto, and that way we can still reach up in the side and hit the freewheel. So if I want to freewheel out the line, I'll just pull it out, done, and that's nice and tucked out of the way. So let's get at it. Let's start by taking out this front battery tray. They are nice to run the front batteries up there, depending, like if you're going camping or trailing or whatever. We normally just keep our TRX4s for just going out for a toot, just out for a rip with the guys. So we don't really utilize this on these models. On our PN1, the rusty one there, we're using the front battery tray, and then our VS410, we have the VS410 with the TRAXXAS axles. We also have a battery up front there, so. Beauty. Okay, I'm going to take that off. We're going to cut that. We'll get into that in a few. And now I just need to pull this bumper off. Okay, so we got the bumper off. Now we're going to cut off these upper two mounts so I can make that cardboard template so we can get the winch mounted onto that. And then we're going to cut a hole through the front, or drill a hole right through the mount and the front. You can see it's about 3/4 of an inch thick altogether. And we're going to get the cable in there. We're going to make sure that hole is nice and smooth and clean and has enough travel so it can still spool back up properly, not just one big clump on the drum. So I didn't grab any safety glasses. I'm using a level 3 safety squint right now, so make sure you guys are being safe. So I'm going to set that in there. I'm going to trace out everything. So I'm just going to kind of mark it out because we know the frame rail ends here, right? So I'm just going to cut that plate a little bit shorter there. But when I do cut it out first time, I will cut a bit proud, see how it all fits together, because this will sit above the frame rails, so we'll see how that's going to work. So just want to grab our chassis now, throw the bumper on, and do check it is the right way up. I do make that mistake and put it upside down and make plates that won't fit. Okay, so that worked out perfectly. I did cut it a little bit proud of the line. Remember, I gave it that extra little bit, and it said does overlap, so this actually fits right back now to the edge of the frame, which is really nice, like that. So we can, yeah, get that rolling. I got lots of room. I can drill and screw down into there, and then most importantly, you want to make sure you has enough room for the winch to fit. Tons of room. Look at that. Done. So on to the next project. Stay tuned, guys. Come back next week. We're gonna build Dollhouse. Okay, I'm just joking. I gotta go outside now and cut this out of aluminum, and then we'll show you how to make a template using some simple tape. I'll try to do that real quick, and then we'll get that drilled out. Okay, now we got that cut out of the cardboard. We got a rough template. We're gonna go outside and cut that in aluminum, but first off, I want to grab the winch, and I want to build a template for the bottom, so when I'm going out to the garage, I can drill the holes for that at the same time. We're going to remove this clip on the back. Yeah, so this winch works pretty good, actually. I was just messing with it a little bit when I got setting up the controller. Yeah, it's pretty cool, actually. Works really well, really smooth, good strong power, and fairly quick, too, which is cool. It's not a... We have other winches that are 10 pounds and they're pretty slow. Okay, so when you guys remove that plate, you gotta make sure you put these screws back in. For simplicity, I just cut down the edge of this mount. I just cut off one of the little pieces that actually fit into the hole and give it the proper spacing for the bolt. The bolts don't pass all the way through. So I'd be sitting here looking for a spacer to fit all this for half an hour. Let's just use the one that's already there. So, simple enough, chop it off. Can you see me? Clean it up. Sure, just. You don't have to go through and clean it up. Like, it's going to be under the hood. Nobody's going to see it where it is, but it's a hobby. Take your time. Do it right. And like anything with these screws, you want to run them all the way down and make sure they're not too tight. So go all the way down, turn it back just a little bit, and that way you'll know you're not putting any binding into anything. This piece now is garbage. Now we're going to get that chassis back up here one more time. Okay, so you want to get your frame bumper on, get your template butted up to the frame rails back on both sides, and then we want to set our winch in there. Kind of figure out the absolute what we're going to need. And then, yeah, without hitting the frame, I'm going to make sure all this stuff comes into play when you're thinking about this. So you want to make sure this guy is somewhat centered, this and that. Other things, insert words here. You want to make sure, I know you want to have it centered as you can for the spool in the middle, but the body of the winch is going to be more to this side. So you get the spool as close as you can to center. And all your mounts and everything, they're going to make sure they're going to clear everything by visually just looking underneath and checking. And then we're going to mark this plate for the front here. We'll actually trace out the feet of the winch on this side, so we can know where the winch is going to sit onto this plate. And then this section in the middle, I'm actually going to remove up to the front because the winch cable needs to go down and then out. So everything in front of the winch I want clear because it needs to go down and then out the front here. So that's going to come through with some trimming and other junk, but yeah, get her in. Okay, so we got the template. Just going to cut this back, and like Jesse said just now, we got to figure out where the holes are, so I'll show you guys how we do that. I did mark out these stumps here so I can cut this out ahead of time. Well, stumps I guess, but the edges of the winch. Okay, so first cut done there. It's a good idea before we get too far ahead. Okay, so best way to do this that I like, run a piece of tape across the bottom. This is the rear, so find out your front side here. We already know that this is the edge, that's the edge. So I'm just gonna mark it right on the sticky side, mark it out there. And then on the bottom, do you say bottom like that? Why do we keep saying it like that? I don't know, I'm just being weird. We're gonna take this, we're gonna poke the holes. Whoop. Hello. Okay, so now that we have the template for the holes on here, all you need to do is take this off and be mindful of when you flip it over, the winch goes this way and the tape go down this way. Your two wider holes are the front, your two narrow holes are the back. If you look here, the two wider holes are the front, the two narrow holes are the back. So you can see our marks on the tape and our marks on here. All we need to do is line those up nice and square. Set that down. Now that template is ready to be drilled, cut, all that other good stuff. So now we can go transfer this onto aluminum, take it out to the shop, cut this out on the bandsaw. If you don't have a bandsaw, you can use that hacksaw. Jesse and I, when we first started doing this, we used to cut chassis with hacksaws and files. Just put two pieces of aluminum on a plate, draw it all out, chop it and cut it, and now we got fancy machines for doing that. Like Bauer hacksaws. But yeah, still
gotta start somewhere.
Gotta start somewhere. Yeah, now we just got bandsaws to do. Okay, we retrofit. Sorry, it's raining. We don't need to film any of that. Let's go cut that out and come back and tell them to change it. Cut! Okay, so we turn that cardboard template into a piece of aluminum. You'll see we got already our holes drilled for the winch. I drilled the holes a little bit bigger so we have room to line everything up. You know, we're just kind of throwing everything as a quick template. It's nice and straight. It's where we wanted it. The two front holes here we've pre-drilled, and the two back holes here are drilled into the bumper. You can see them there. Show the GoPro here, hole here, small one there, small one there. So This guy fits back in here. He kind of tucks underneath the front of the bumper, which is nice there. And then we have 4 screws to go in there, and 2 of them being the little Vanquish scale hardware screws to go into the back corners, and then we got the other ones to go in the front. So quickly, we need to go paint this. We've already got that all done and drilled and set up. Pretty easy to do. You guys just have to kind of feel it out and figure it out, but pretty simple, right? Trace that out, make it fit, done. And now we're gonna go paint that up, and then we're gonna get into hogging out the middle of this and making it so we can get our fair lead in the middle and get our line pulled through there. So I'm gonna go throw some paint on this, and then we're gonna clear the bench and start chopping this bumper up, make it fit. Okay guys, we got that plate in the other room painting, and now we got that stock bumper piece. You guys remember back in the day 1 video when we got this thing, we pulled this piece off because it looked stupid and it was ruining the beautiful look of this nice front bumper on it. And then we cut off the 1 block, or well, we're gonna cut off both. We cut those off, we're gonna get those painted and get those installed on the bottom. And now I'm harvesting this fair lead. It is only plastic. We are gonna get aluminum one down the road, but this one will have to do for now. I might just cut one out of a plate of aluminum, trace it out, match it, cut it, file it, make our own. It's simple enough to do. And then what you're gonna wanna do, is what I've already gone ahead and done, is lay that in there, which actually is kind of cool. The piece fits in there just perfectly. I think TRAXXAS kind of should have went for this fit on it. And they've even got a slot in the back. Once you open it up, it actually helps you run the cable through. So we're definitely taking advantage of that. So I've marked that out, and then I'm using a 764 drill bit to go through and drill out the middle, and then I'll use my hobby knife to cut it out nice. You don't want to go too big with a drill bit like this and make it any bigger than it has to be, and you want to make sure it's nice and smooth. And I've also got the holes marked out in there for drilling it out, and we're going to replace the bolts that it comes with some more of the Vanquish little scale bolts in there just to make it look better. For the bumper brace in the rear, I'm going to chop it right here and right here. I'm going to chop it into just 2 pieces, a left and a right. I'll mark it left, right before I cut it, so we know which is which. And well, it's pretty simple. There's casting on the top where we cut it off, but I'll still mark it. We're going to chop that in half. These 2 halves will go back on this side of the bumper, and then remember that aluminum plate will tie everything together again and add that rigidity to it. So that's going to free up this whole top area to get my cable down through there on the nicest angle I can. And yeah, so for cutting out this, once again, razor saw. If you guys don't have one, go grab one. Go visit our friends ProNoobRC, Winnipeg, Manitoba, or hit them up on their web store, grab one. Remember, use ProNoobRC on any order over $100 to save $15. And I'll get you a free blade like this if you do it right. So, cut there, then you can use the tip of the blade very carefully to just do like a drag cut through here. Now you want to be very careful because it kind of hooks and then it runs, so don't mess up your paint. And that piece should be ready to start snapping out soon. Switch over to the X-Life blades from X-Acto here. These things are crazy sharp. Look at that. Then you just want to make sure this front piece is cut nice and smooth, no sharp edges. I'm using the back edge of the blade just to scrape in there. Give it a bit of a bevel just in case it does rub on there. We might pull that right to the front edge on it, so let's just get it all together and check that out. Okay, so let's drill out this front. Okay, so I'm going to keep digging that out. You guys don't want to sit here and watch me do that. I'm going to get those dug out and get that all smoothed out in there, and then chop this in 2. You don't really want to watch me cut that in half. Same thing. Saw it there, saw it there. I'll come back together when we're putting this all back together, and we'll throw it on the truck. Okay, we got our plate painted. We got this all chopped out. We got our fair lead mounted in the front. We used some nice gold Vanquish scale hardware in there. Looking perfect. So we got the plate to put in there. I conveniently marked it with a T for the top so we know who is who and what's what. That guy fits there nicely. We can put the winch in after, so let's throw the plate in to start. Okay, so there's the new bumper plate. Looking mighty fine. Painted matte black on there. We went and sanded and filed out the edges. I used a really small file, so nice and clean and soft on the edge. So if the rope ever does touch, it's not going to be an issue. So the front of the winch is obviously marked with the TRAXXAS side. You want to make sure your spool is coming out the bottom. Winch is pulled from the bottom, not the top. So if there's something wrong or it's pulled the wrong way through, make sure it's coming out the bottom. The cool thing about this guy is it's got a little stopper for the fair lead, but if you lay everything flat with this flat hook, you can actually fit it out the hole in the front of the bumper along with its little stopper guy and pull that through. So, and then a few bolts, put this guy in. So you want to make sure before you lock everything in, that's nice and straight and tight, and you're happy with it. Remember, I pre-drilled the hole through the material a little bit bigger than the shafts of the screws, so I have a little bit of wiggle room to line everything up, right? So, just like all this garbage, don't over tighten anything. Okay, so that's pretty much ready to go back on the truck. That looks fantastic. The free spool button is right there. You're still going to be able to reach your finger up in between because there's a gap in between the end of the front fender and here. And I'm going to be able to push the button and then pull the cable out, which is saying free spools really nicely. So I just need my bumperettes to dry. They're in for paint right now. So give me like, we'll just wait here 2 seconds. We'll be right back with those. Okay, we've got that in. We ran the wire through. We put that nice three-way wiring harness that TRAXXAS thought to include so we can still hook up the light kit, power amplifier when we get that for the rock lights and all the other lights on it. I'm just nipping back the front of this plate. I just cut it off with a pair of body scissors. I'm just going to quickly throw it on the deck here and sand it flat and straight. Good enough. I've looped the wire around and up through here for the antenna. It's quite a long antenna. I don't think we're going to need that much range on it, but it's there if we need it. The front battery tray, we only had to cut off about 3-4 millimeters off the very front edge, just so we could clear here, right in the back side right here. Last step is throw on the front battery tray, drop the body on it. The controller for the winch turns on the winch once the power's there. You don't have to actually get to the winch to turn any power on it, which is nice. So you can tuck it behind the body like this, and it's not a pain in the butt. You don't got to take the body off and turn the winch on, arm it. Okay, there we go. Looking fantastic. We didn't lose a trace, and we do want to put a smaller battery up front down the road if we want to go do some comp and stuff, whatever. If he starts to get a little more beat up, we might. We can still utilize that space. We didn't sacrifice anything for it. The plate we made looks fantastic now, done in the black. You can still reach up under here and hit the freewheel like we were discussing, which is very important. You want to be able to get to that. I know some people are putting it up back here and you can't get to the freewheel, so that's something that needs to be addressed. The cable is pulling a little bit up. I think it's going to be just fine. It's, you know, you don't use it that much, right? So most time you use it, it's kind of on that angle anyway, so maybe that will work good. So we'll keep an eye on that. So yeah. Once that's plugged in, all you need to do is actually put power to the SC, because that port is hot as soon as the battery's hooked to it. Of course, we're going to put the battery or the body on for added effect. And arm this guy, hit the button, he flashes, and winch goes. It's channel 1, you have to hold it until it flashes. 2 flashes channel 2, 1 flash channel 1. I guess you can do 2 inches. Maybe for a front and rear. So it's kind of cool. So nice and strong. Nice and quick. With the little stopper they have there, it fits really nice in the front. Jesse just painted up the shackles for the front of this guy in gold. They're drying. We're going to put the shackles on there, put the hook on the side, put some pictures on our Instagram. Make sure you guys check that out. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the upgrade so far on the truck. We got the wheel and tire package that we wanted on there. Matches with the paint a lot better than the plastic ones we had painted. We always love the TSL. Very aggressive tire, very good looking. Vanquish rims, knock it out of the park every single time. We got these over Eliminator RC. I asked him to make sure he gets me a pair of these. Sometimes they're hard to get for him, so he made that happen for us, which is awesome. We got the winch on the front. We got the bumper mod done. We didn't ruin any of the beautiful front of the truck by hanging a big old stupid bumper or winch on the front. This truck is more about, you know, like we wanted to keep this truck looking good all the time. So, yeah, so we're going to get back to working on the SCX24 video that we're working on right now for you guys, an upcoming video. We will see you guys back here soon. And remember, if you're shopping at EliminatorRC.com, to use ProNoobRC to save $15 on every order of $100. I think he's got a promo code too if you're spending more money, so just make sure you read the beginning of this site too. So if you're planning on spending a couple $100, he might have a better deal for you guys there too. So check that out. And we also have an upcoming giveaway coming out soon. We're just trying to sort out how we're going to get that done, so stay tuned for that. That will be fun and exciting for everybody. Cheers. I'm taking this going home.